Hello and welcome back to Better Than Yesterday, a podcast brought to you by MTN Coaching. And today we have MTN's finest, Nicole. We want to chat all things nature versus nurture. Nicole is, we were joking before this, Nicole said, am I the only coach that was fat? Nicole's the only MTN coach right now that's been through a really dramatic fat loss journey. I think some of the rest of us, and myself included, have bulked and we've tried to gain weight, and yes, we've gained some fat alongside that and then had to lose it. But Nicole came from a place from having quite a lot of fat to lose, not being in shape as a kid, because I think myself, if I look at some of the other NTN coaches, I played sport when I was younger. I had good influences surround me from a fitness standpoint when I was younger, and losing weight was never kind of on my mind. But for you, it certainly was. So I kind of want to kick things off just for you to chat about your upbringing, I suppose, from a health fitness standpoint. Where did it slot in? If it did slot in, maybe it didn't slot in. Chat about that, and then we can chat about what you did to lose weight, and we can kind of take things from there.
Yeah, I was definitely, I think I'm the only coach that didn't have any fitness background. As in, I went to the gym for the first time when I was 26. So definitely no...
Were you as old as that, 26, when you first started? And you're 31 now, 30?
Yeah, first day of lockdown was the first workout I'd ever done in my life, essentially. And purely just because, again, it wasn't instilled in me. I always kind of said to Mum now, I'm like, why didn't you get me into sport when I was younger? She was like, I did try. I tried with gymnastics and all this and stuff, but I think it's maybe from my experience and obviously my interpretation of my childhood, but I'm going to force my child into fitness. And you can't force. I'm like, I'll force my child. Because I just feel like I wasn't at all. I didn't have, again, I'm one of 6 essentially, kids. So I put it down to, she didn't have time.
Well, let's talk from the ages of 5 to 15. What did lifestyle look like at that age? What did food look like? What did you just said you didn't exercise, but was there
absolutely
any sort
no exercise? No concept of exercise. That was just not a thing. Neither of my parents were into fitness or even exercise or looking after herself. Mum smoked 20 cigarettes a day, drank often. My dad is just a bigger guy. He's probably listening.
Hey, Dad.
Hi, Dad. Yeah, he just again, just incredibly unhealthy habits from both parents. Not intentionally, I guess. I'm not going to bash them, but just no healthy habits.
Yeah, it wasn't on their mind.
It wasn't on their mind at all. So equally, it wasn't on our mind. From 5 to 15, food wise as well. Again, my mum was shopping for 5 kids, so it was big value packs of crisps, big chocolate roll packets, anything you could get in bulk and that we liked, she got. There was
so what would dinners look like then?
Takeaways a lot at the time, actually. There was a takeaways a lot. She would make things, because I was quite fussy as a child. I didn't like vegetables. I didn't try a vegetable until I was 22.
That is absolutely obscene.
Which is never, again, I'm not going to put that necessarily down to my parents, because I'm sure they did try, and gave up with one of 5 also to deal with.
Of course.
But I definitely didn't eat vegetables or that just wasn't a forced. There was no discipline in my house at all. I wasn't forced to do anything. Dinner times weren't a forced thing. It was I've made a big pot of stovies or mac and cheese. Eat it if you want it. If you don't, find something else. That's very much what our household was. Again, takeaways were often. Mum doesn't like to cook. My dad did like to cook, but again, I only went to my dad's on the weekend. And then when I did go to my dad's at the weekend, he was very you're only here once a week. Have whatever you want. So again, so I always joke about this, and we were laughing about it last time I saw my dad. Because me and my sister both ate the same thing. But we would say if we wanted dessert at my dad's house, he would go to the house. He'd go to Tesco's, which is down the corner, and he'd get a cheesecake and half it. So our dessert was half a cheesecake.
Oh my Lord.
Or if we wanted ice cream, again, he'd get the big litre tub, half it in the middle. So that.
And this was just normal as well for you?
Completely normal. That was not even a treat. We would get sorbet for breakfast. And me thinking that lemon sorbet was healthy because it had lemon and it had fruit in it. She always got the raspberry one. And it was just we laughed so hard because that he genuinely thought that he was just trying to make us happy. Again, health and fitness wasn't a thing. So he really was just trying to make us happy. And of course, kids love sweets and sugar.
Yeah.
I have the record in my family for eating 7 bacon rolls in a row.
7.
7.
So how many slices of bacon was that?
Full pack of bacon. It was a full pack of bacon, and it was those little mini rolls that you put in the oven. I had 7 of them, and that was just
butter
logs.
on it.
No, I didn't
No,
like
okay,
butter.
good.
I was really picky. But regardless, like, that was like a lull. Like, that was like, Nicole, maybe you shouldn't have 7 bacon rolls. That's like, is she going to eat another one? Like,
Yeah, so this is also school age as well. So let's chat. What did, like, PE, what did that look like? Were you the person forgetting their PE kit, or did you take part?
weirdly, in like primary school, I was quite tomboy. So I was like the only one like kicking a football about. But I was also, I was such an embarrassed child. Like, everything embarrassed me. Like, even like being a female, like, embarrassed me. Like, even like, such random things like were just so embarrassing to me. So like doing PE, if I like got a bit sweaty, that was so embarrassing.
Right.
Like, or like if you saw like my bra through my top, like,
That was embarrassing.
so embarrassing. Like, so I just avoided it. I literally remember, like, again, because there was no discipline in my house, Mum never forced me to do anything. So I went to her crying that I didn't want to do swimming because I was a little bit overweight, got called thunder thighs. So obviously I wasn't then going to continue to do fitness. So I remember crying to Mum, like, please say that I can't do swimming.
So did that from an early age, getting a little bit bullied for the way you looked, did that kind of put you off pursuing it?
I think so.
For a while?
Yeah, for sure. Like, and again, I was always I was a bit of the class clown as well as being incredibly shy, so it's kind of a weird combo. But like I was like, yeah, I think I was definitely bullied in a sense, but because I was a bit of the class clown, I always just kind of laughed it off. Or like, I never let be like a victim kind of bully, but like I definitely got like comments of like thunder thighs.
And it affected you maybe more than you actually realised.
100, like
looking
even
back.
like as like all the girls in my school, like primary school, from again ages of like 5 upwards, I was the big boned one. I was like the broad one. My mum literally said that me and my best friend at the time were little and large, like at the age of like 10. So like again, even though I know that these comments weren't like
coming from a
bad place essentially, but like they stuck with me, and like I was always like the big one. Or like again, I remember I was down at my friend's and I must have been like 7, and her mum was like, oh, we'll need to go to the shops to get you like a top that, because like I couldn't fit into her friend's top, like my friend's top, you know what I mean? So like I was just always like made to feel bigger, because I was. And even like little things like when we'd go to like Jimmy Chung's for like, which was like a Chinese buffet place, when we got like our pocket money, like all my friends would go and have like a plate or two, and I was sitting there like 5 plates deep, like I'm still hungry.
Felt normal
like,
for you
yeah,
as well.
like so normal. Like portion sizes. Even now, I'm like, I think I've got a big appetite because of that. But like, it just was so normalized to have 7 bacon rolls in the morning. Like, it was so normalized to have half a cheesecake as like an aperitif after dinner. Like, like it was just there was just no concept of small portions or like portion control. Like, none at all.
Yeah, and this is why I wanted to chat to you about this, because like I said, a lot of the other MTN coaches came from like a sporty background, and that's why I wanted to chat to you as well, because I came from like really good habits as a kid, played lots of sport. Both my mum and dad were really good cooks, so it was very much like meat, veg, potatoes. Don't get me wrong, we still had like pizza now and then and frozen food, and we had a takeaway now and then, but it was very much now and then, and it's exactly how I currently live my life. And even recently having a kid, it's how he will live his life. So I feel I've been fed good habits, and it's allowed me to make good choices, which is going to allow me to give my kids good choices as well. But you were the polar opposites, like no exercise, normalising lots of dessert. I mean, for me, like I always look at my mum and dad would force me to eat. I say force, yeah. They would like make us eat our vegetables, or we'd need to finish our dinner in the utility room, and we'd need to go and sit and we'd eat our dinner like on top of the washing machine and whatever else. And I actually remember once, my brothers will laugh, they won't listen to this, but my brothers, if they see this, my mum would bring through our food, and we had patio doors, and I didn't really like vegetables because I was a kid and no one likes vegetables. And I remember patio doors opened up into the garden, and I remember it was like, you know, the mix of like peas, sweet corn, carrots. She put it in my plate and she went through to grab my brother's food, and I was like, open the window, scraping my vegetables into the garden. The next day she's in the garden and she's like, why is there vegetables in my garden? And she'd found them. But I was just saying, like, I didn't necessarily like vegetables. Certainly did like exercise. There's discipline.
Yeah. Repercussions for...
And I think, like you said, it's not like your parents didn't discipline you from badness. They just, maybe that's just not how they were brought up. And that's kind of what happens in health and fitness. It's like the habits that you've got typically filter down generation to generation until somebody decides, actually, no, I want to make a change. And it's phenomenal that you said that a minute ago. Well, you know, when I have kids, or if I have kids, like, they will be forced to play sport. They will be forced to eat some vegetables. They'll be forced to try things. And forced sounds like a really harsh, horrible, hard word, but to be honest, like, kids should be, like, in my eyes, like, like disciplined and pushed towards doing things that are going to better them. So it's really interesting just to have your perspective from, like, especially from a food standpoint, like your nutrition habits were wild.
Yeah.
Or
Wild.
what you thought was normal was wild.
That's what it is. I didn't know they were wild at the time. And like, it was only until like, I think it was last year that I met up with my sister and my dad and we were laughing about it and we're like, actually now thinking about it, that is wild that we would have a full tub of sorbet for breakfast. Like at the time, that was so normal.
Yeah.
Like there was no...
It sounds like you've got the diet of like Elf. You could just like eat what you want, maple syrup on everything, like eat whatever you want.
Yeah, I remember spooning out, because I was talking about this with Jack the other day, that he was like not really allowed sugar like on his Weetabix or whatever, whereas like I remember like spooning the sugar out of the bottom of the Weetabix because it was like a lump of, like, you know what I mean, so much sugar.
Sugary milk's amazing.
There was just no discipline at all.
Yeah, interesting. And I think like it is interesting to just look at the difference between both, because the good thing is, and I think what's cool about Nicole sitting here is that like she decided to make a change at some point. And lots of people maybe watching or listening might have the same upbringing as like similar to you versus me, because it's easy for me to be like, well, I've always been in shape. I've had quite literally had a 6-pack since I was 6. Like everyone laughs about that, but I've had good body image, good body composition since I was young, and I always was like top of the class with sport, whatever else. Had abs when I was younger, like, and it's always been part of my life. But there's way more people probably like you, and there's way more people that certainly didn't have positive influences from their mum and dad or from their brothers or from friends at school that likely are listening, or that maybe will listen at some point, thinking, and they probably blame things. And I don't know about you, like, did you, when you did get to a point where you're like, right, I'm really overweight, did you blame anyone else, or did you blame your parents? Did you blame upbringing, or was it very much like, this is still on me?
I don't think I did. I think I've always kind of taken ownership on that. But my sister, for example, is still, I'm sure she won't mind me saying this, but largely overweight. And she definitely does blame my dad and our kind of upbringing for the way that her eating habits are now. And obviously, I maybe would blame it on them, but I've changed it. Yeah. So yeah, I think when it comes to my behaviours, I think as well, like, not to get too deep into it, but like, we didn't have the best childhood in terms of like abuse and things like that. So I've always been quite hyper independent. Again, with my mum having having 5 kids, there was no discipline, nor could she control maybe 5 kids. So I definitely have always been and felt like independent in that sense. So I've always made my decisions. So when I did decide to kind of, maybe I should change things at 26, I did.
Yeah.
Whereas my sister still really struggles with that. And I know that there's clients that still struggle with that. Like just long-term habits and kind of playing the victim, I guess. And again, you very well might be a victim, but that's when it's kind of up to you, in my opinion, up to you to kind of make that change.
It's funny you say that, because you're saying you and your sister are very different from like a health standpoint, but also from I don't want to say a blame standpoint, but you were like, actually, yes, I'm overweight, and it kind of was my parents' fault. They didn't educate me, they didn't tell me to do the right things, but I am also now in control to do the right thing. And your sister had the same upbringing to a degree, but she's got a different perspective, and it's the same with, I've got 2 older brothers. Neither of them are into fitness, and if you met us and you put us in a room, facially cool, you'd be able to see that we're brothers and whatever else, but you know, the way that we dress, the way that we talk, our interests, our political views, our views on how the world works, our views on finances and career, like, they are so fucking different. So I think that's always an interesting one, because that's kind of why I wanted to talk about nature versus nurture. Both of my big brothers have a very different outlook on health and fitness. Neither of them. One of my brothers does trapeze, to put it into perspective. That's his exercise, which to be honest is actually phenomenal, but so random in comparison to me. And my other brother just doesn't exercise. Both had the same parents, both had similar influences, but I suppose along the way, I maybe was just pushed into, I chose to go into sport when I was younger. So I had really good influences from martial arts and sport. And then that led to me making other friends in that kind of world. And then I naturally was in shape, got in better shape, and it kind of progressed that way. Which is why I think it's interesting for me and you to chat, because it's so fucking different, lifestyles and kind of circumstances.
I think nurture over nature is so interesting. I think nature is like what I would consider genetics. And like, obviously nature for me is like something you can't control, is that kind of, I guess? And then nurture is obviously your upbringing. And again, me and my sister, wildly different body compositions, even when we were both bigger. But the nurture in both of them is your environment as well, I think. Like
massively.
we had, and I'm sure your brothers were the same, like we had completely different friend groups. So again, like me and my sister's political views are maybe completely different, or the way that we view our childhood is completely different, even though it
was similar. Yeah.
Similar. But it was, and even the way she talks completely different to me, and that is purely because of the people that she hangs around with. And I think that has a big impact. Like I've got clients that won't say to their workplace that they're on a diet because they'll get made fun of.
Yeah.
So I feel like nurture, even in your adulthood, your environment, I guess, has a big impact.
It's interesting because your brothers and sisters had the same parents, and my brothers and me had the same parents, but like you're saying, we grew very differently because of not just our parents, because of who else we were influenced by. And I think that's such a good point, because people in like adulthood, yes, maybe you still are, you know, you spend a lot of time with your family still, but you kind of don't need to, and you can change that. And I think that's something that not a lot of people feel that they can do. Like if you're not in a good environment, whether it's a relationship, whether it's family, whether it's a workplace, whether it's your friend group as well. Like I made a joke at a seminar a few weeks ago about like one of my best mates taking the piss out of me constantly for years, for like trying to be a personal trainer and whatever else. And then I got to a point where I was like, I don't actually need to hang about with this guy. Okay, I'll change it. But people don't feel like that with family, and I get you can't choose your family, so like you maybe can't just avoid your family, but you can certainly start to spend less time with them. And I think if you've got a friend group that's negatively affecting your habits, maybe they drink, smoke, take drugs, whatever, and you're trying to quit those things, or maybe they're just really obese and they don't move their bodies, you can change that. And I think we're lucky, like as the MTN coaches, like we're surrounded in an echo chamber of fitness. So it's just like, you know, I think if one of us was to really let go of ourselves, we wouldn't take the piss out of each other, but it just wouldn't happen actually. Like it wouldn't happen because you're in that environment. And I think that's something that people can change, and I think that's something that people can do. You can change your environment of who you're with. You can't change your parents, you can't change your upbringing, but if you've still got shitty influences in your life, you can 100% change that.
Yeah, you can definitely change it. And I do think I've had this quite a lot with clients saying that they don't want to talk about calories with their friends, or I've had a few clients where their sisters had an eating disorder, so they can't track their calories in front of them. I definitely have got friends that don't like the mention of calories, whereas obviously I have a very healthy relationship with calories. So like, it's very, again, your environment, you definitely can change it, but I understand that it's not
an overnight fix, is it?
It's not an overnight fix. But it's also, it does impact your ability to stick to a plan or how consistent you can be. Because again, if you're surrounded by friends that always want to go to the pub or always want to have a takeaway after the pub, and you're trying to change those habits, and those are the only people you have around you, I totally appreciate how hard it is. I started going, my first workout was during lockdown, where I was by myself. I isolated for 6 months by myself. So I had no outside noise.
So that was helpful.
It's so helpful. Like I say, like, lockdown, as awful as it was, like changed my life and like saved my life. If I was hanging around, because at the time I was an art student, drinking a lot, I worked in a pub, other things, and I can't imagine a world where I would have been consistent enough or had the time to have changed that if I hadn't have literally removed myself from everybody around me.
Yeah, and it's funny, if we look at what is probably our most successful program, the 12-week peak, it's what people know us for, and we, after it ends every year, like we have a big meeting and we chat about it, and we're always like, what is the difference? Like, why are so many people successful with this versus other programs and whatever else? And it's community. It's like you're surrounded by other people that are doing the you know, right things from a fitness standpoint, and it just makes it so much fucking easier. Like I think as us as coaches who all run our own businesses, you know, within MTN, it's sort of like, well, it's easier to succeed because we're surrounded by other people succeeding. And it's the same with fat loss. It's easier to succeed with fat loss goals, body composition goals, if you're surrounded by other people that are chasing those things.
That's why everyone in Bali's in shape. That's why everyone in Australia's in shape, because it's more normalised.
Well, I think, again, you stayed in Bali for a few months, Australia for...
it was more New Zealand, but New Zealand as well for a bit.
And again, it's sort of like where you are will dictate your outcome to a degree. Like I lived in Dubai for a year, and it was similar in the sense of like, a lot of the expats, especially British people that move there, are a little bit more interested in personal development, health, fitness. Like it's a bit more of a posery place. Same with fucking Bali. It's the exact same actually. And you're sort of like, you're not forced to like get in shape, but you're forced to probably look at things and think about things a little bit more, and you're surrounded with more of those people. So yeah, I think like to round up this first section, like your upbringing 100% affects you until a certain stage.
Yep.
And then I think it's down to you. And if you're
100%.
listening to this and you've had an upbringing more similar to Nicole than you did me, then like Nicole's changed. So I want to make it clear that you can too.
If I can do it, again, didn't try even a carrot until I was 22. Like, no, actually, I lie. It would have been like later than that. During lockdown.
What about carrot cake?
No, I didn't like cinnamon up until like 2 years ago.
Wow.
Like, honestly, I was the beigest person. I only like chips, chicken nuggets. Mom says that if it wasn't sausage,
Finish it off.
I wouldn't eat it. So I'd be like,
Say it all in one.
She said, if it wasn't sausage, I wouldn't eat it. So like, I'd be eating like broccoli, and she'd be like, it's sausage, and I'd be like, oh, great. Like I just wouldn't eat it unless it was.
I hope no one else does that to you now. Jack.
I'm gonna stop talking. I was gonna say something else.
Throwing you off there.
Yeah,
Apologies. But like Nicole said, like if she can do it, you can. And
yeah.
Nicole wasn't, morbidly obese. She lost like 2.5, 3 stone pretty much. And it was a lot of weight to lose. Like there's a lot of fat to lose.
It was more composition, I think.
Yeah.
Like I think it actually looked like I've lost more than I did.
Yeah.
And again, before, a lot of people that knew me when I was my before saw my before and said, you didn't look like that. And I was like, I did. I just like, I hid it really well. I wore like nice clothes, I guess, or baggy clothes. Like I really did. And I always did like my hair and makeup and stuff. And I'm lucky in the sense that I carry my weight from like belly button down.
Yeah.
So it was easier to hide.
So you always kind of took pride in your appearance in some capacity, but it moved towards doing it through your physique a little bit later in life.
Yeah, it's weird because I was never like I definitely was, but like
It didn't stop you doing things necessarily.
Not really, but I definitely, I feel like it was more like when I lost weight and got into shape, I felt like I was now just how I should have looked.
Yeah.
Like I kind of like stepped into like my potential. I think I was always annoyed at myself because I feel like I had a lot of potential, but I just had no idea even how to even do that.
Well, let's talk about sort of breaking the cycle and unveiling that potential, because that's essentially what you did at 26.
Yeah.
Which for a lot of people is like a little bit of a later time
sure.
to start making changes. And I don't think it matters whether you're 26, 36 or 56. Like you can still make massive change. Both of us have worked with clients on all those age ranges and had success with that. So I don't think age is a factor. I do think doing the wrong things for a longer time frame makes things harder. But I think you can make those changes. Now, talking about you breaking the cycle, you were 26. What happened that made you go, enough's enough?
Well, before lockdown, again, I was an art student, so like, and I worked in a pub, so I like got paid in pints. Like I was like always drinking and eating pub food. Again, like after work, I had like 6 pints to drink because I bought them, and I did.
I didn't actually know this about you. Christmas night out.
Ordering a Hibs pub for anyone on Leith.
We're going pint hunting.
And yeah, well, literally, again, and during lockdown, even when I started getting into fitness, I still had absolutely no idea about alcohol or food or anything like that. I was just doing Instagram live workouts and going for longer walks. But I was still going to, like, when the pubs open up and they're allowed to be open till 10, all my friends we'd all go to the pub till 10. Like, and I'd be drinking 3-4 times a week. Because again, I was a student, like, that's just kind of what you did. And then it's when I kind of started fitness and actually realised that it literally was, I think, physically because I couldn't get takeaways. E.g., they were shut during lockdown.
Interesting.
I really just I had to cook more. And I remember making a bolognese for the first time and my dad gave me a recipe and there was mushrooms in it and I was like, ooh, like I'm not eating mushrooms. But I did anyway. And then it was just like more just like I started to feel better. Like, and I started drinking a little bit less, all that kind of stuff. Like it was all very much kind of by accident, but...
So for you, there wasn't like a lot of people have like, I don't want to say an epiphany, but they have this big thing that happens, somebody calls them something or they see themselves in a mirror or something like that. Wasn't really that for you. It was more the sense of, it was almost like forced upon you. Because, you had no other options.
Exposure therapy, I guess.
Yeah.
No, but I just kind of left a 7-year-long on-off relationship. Literally on the first day of lockdown, left that, was isolating by myself. Again, I was the only one, and before I was having Chineses like 2-3 times a week, as well as going to the pub 5 times a week. Like, it's just incredibly unhealthy habits, purely because of my environment. I was sitting down a lot. I was an art student. And I literally would get the bus to college, sit down all day, eat like a massive baguette with like noodles and
sausage shaped foods
sausages.
again. You're like super bad.
And like a bunch of like Cadbury's, like milk buttons. I'd then go home, I'd have either a Chinese or a big pizza from Lidl, student. And that was it. That truly was my life for like years. And then when lockdown happened, all the Chinesies were shut. So I had to cook myself. And it really was just kind of through that. And I started to like kind of look. Honestly, I think back to that first photo, the first day of lockdown, again, the before photo that most people know. I have no idea why I took that. Because I had no plan on
changing
really. Yeah. I just thought, I'll start doing workouts and see what happens.
So do you think you were successful because when you first started seeing change, did that like spur you on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly that. That was all it was. Like, I literally would go out for my hour walk that you're allowed to go out for. And then I thought, I'll go out for 2 hours. I'll go out for 3 hours. And I definitely went in so far in a direction of like over-exercising and not knowing nutrition enough. So by default, under-eating. So I definitely went from one extreme to the other. I have ADHD. So like, I feel like I can get quite hyper-focused on something. So during lockdown, when I wasn't a student anymore, I wasn't working, I really was like obsessed with the Instagram live HIIT workouts that were going on, going out for walks, going out for runs, and then coming home. And I just thought, I felt good from that exercise that I naturally wanted to eat better. So again, I still had no idea of real nutrition was, but like, I wanted to have more fruit. So I would have like strawberries and raspberries and like a whole bag of granola. But to me, that was healthy. And that definitely was healthier than what I was doing before. And then it just kind of, again, I started to see results. And I remember comparing the first photo that I took on lockdown versus the one that I took in May. So that was in March, April, May. Yeah, it was 3 months later. I'm thinking, oh, there's a wee bit of a difference there. I wonder what happens if I keep going. And then I started, because I was posting this on my close friends, and I only had 6 people on that because I was so embarrassed. But a few people are like, how did you do that? Like, how did you, you look better. Like, what have you done? And then I started posting a little bit more on my close friends. And then it was when I started my Instagram, which would have been less than a year later, and I'd done a decent transformation by that point, that public accountability, again, carried me on.
Of that, so 2 things to dive into here. Number 1, and I think this is really important for clients that might be listening to this, is that results lead to more results. Because I think when you get that little bit of momentum and you can see some progress happening, that sort of spurs you on. Like, I am a big believer on when new clients have worked with me in the past, sometimes I'll actually undershoot calorie goals initially to be like, let's get a little bit of fat off, let's get them some wins, let's get them seeing the scale come down, let's get them seeing some changes like within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then I can maybe put them up a little bit. But I think for a lot of people, you know what it's like people need to see a result to get bought in to continually do it. Like if you're working something for 2 years and don't see anything, you're going to be like, don't know if that's the right thing. Or even 2 weeks for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I think most people, especially if they are undisciplined, which you were with fitness, they don't understand delayed gratification. So I think for those people that aren't at a stage where they can get a lot from delayed gratification, you need to not delay it. You need to give them gratification. And for you, you were lucky, like you seen results quick because you probably had fuck all else to do.
Yeah.
So like you seen results really quickly there. And I think anyone, whether it's business, fitness, whatever, like try and get quick wins. I think it really spurs you on and gives you the momentum to kind of keep pushing forward. There was one more thing that I was going to jump into.
I think maybe public accountability.
Public accountability.
So I'm really big on that. Like I am so vocal on anything that, even if I don't stick to it, I'm the first people I'm telling is Instagram, and I'm saying I'm doing this goal. I want to get this. This would be quite cool. And it is my clients that don't tell anyone or like feel like they're people pleasing. It's the people that struggle the most because they're not being selfish, I guess, and you'd have to be a little bit for... I'm with you on this, and not everyone agrees. Like, I've got a few friends that are very against public accountability. I'm very for it, and you guys will know this. Like, I will tell you what the company goals are, I'll tell you what the financial goals are, relationship goals, kids goals. Like, you kind of know all my shit. Yeah.
And similar to you, like, we chat about goals a lot, and I think putting them out there I've actually put stuff on Instagram before I've even spoke to close friends about it in the past. Kirsty laughs. She's like, I didn't realise that was one of your goals. I'm like, oh yeah, sorry, I want 5 kids. But I've always done that, and I think the thought of knowing that there's eyeballs on me, it creates like a level of pressure. And I have not hit all of my goals. You'll know this. You laugh because I'm like, this is the goal for this, and you're like, did you get there? No, but I think I got closer than I would have if I didn't set that.
Yeah.
And again, I think this is why Instagram gets hate and social media gets hate, but there's so many positives. And I think from a documentation standpoint, inspiration standpoint, like you've inspired a lot of girls and women to start their fitness journey. Purely because you put yourself out there at some point and you said like, this is what I'm pushing for now, and you're still quite good at that. I always see you like, I'm working on this is my muscle building goals, like this is what I'm kind of looking to do right now. And I think it's useful. Not everyone works well with that pressure. I think some people find it like crippling, but I think some people, if you've never tried it, like a little bit of public accountability goes a long way.
It comes from self-doubt probably, in the fact like I've had so many clients not send me their before photos because they feel embarrassed of the way they look in them. And I'm like, that is the girl that is doing the work. And I will share my before photo because she's the one that turned up. She's the one that actually made the change. She started for me to be here. And if I hadn't started my Instagram and, again, publicly put that photo out there, I 100% would not be a coach today. I would not have continued, probably. I had my Instagram for about 2 years before I started coaching. And it all led to this.
That's been your career as well, and like big lifestyle
purely from
changes.
Public accountability.
Yeah.
If I'd been a bit more secret about that or not shared my journey because I was embarrassed about what I looked like before, I wouldn't have got anywhere.
Yeah, and we're not saying like if you're overweight, out of shape, don't love how you look, you need to go and blast your photos online. We're not saying that, but I think making people around you aware of what your goals are. And again, you might not want to because you're not in that environment. You might not have people around you that you want to tell, but if you're working with Nicole or you're one of our clients, like tell your coach what you really want to achieve, whether it's finance goals, career goals, business. Like I just think like putting it out there into the world, and I'm not, we'll chat to Laura soon, but I'm not like Laura in the sense of like affirmations and like putting, that's not me, but I think there's an element of putting stuff out there and having it like consistently in your brain that does lead to big changes. So yeah, public accountability I think is a massive thing for making progress in all areas of your life. And if you don't get there, for me, like I think you'll be closer than if you didn't have it.
Agreed.
Right, let's move on to, I suppose, the adult conversation, which is, like we kind of spoke about briefly, some people will be watching this and they've not had a good upbringing, they've not got a positive environment right now, they won't have even taken before photos, they won't have lockdown, because lockdown for you is like a superpower. So like, what would you say to them? Like, what should they do? Where do they start if they are Nicole 5 years ago?
I always think about what would I do if I started again, and kind of goes a little bit against what you said. You said you would kind of undershoot calories and build up from there to get those wins, and I totally get that. But I feel like I would start small. Talking about behaviour change, that's something I've like really been looking into since we had that talk on Sunday, and it had to start small with me. Again, I didn't count calories to begin with. I really did. My only goal was to do one HIIT workout or one Instagram live a day. Be consistent with that. But again, when I say start small as well, it can be as little as make your bed every day. Like, there's no point of trying to completely change your physique if you're not brushing your teeth twice a day, like, or making your bed once a day. What
would you say is the most important place to start? Is it nutrition? Is it steps? Is it training? If they had to do one, what would be the quickest win or easiest start?
Well, it depends on the goal, but if it was fat loss, obviously nutrition would be the first point of action. Like, actually, even just track what you are doing right now. Don't change a thing. Track, just get more knowledge about what you're doing. I think that was probably my biggest thing, is I had absolutely no idea that 3 Chinese a week weren't bad, or that it was 2,000 calories a plate. Like, again, if your goal is just to kind of feel healthier or not be out of breath when you're walking up the stairs, like, go to the gym more. Like, try and go twice a week. Like, or again, for me, I literally started with, I went for an hour walk every day. Like, just being consistent and having that confidence that you're actually capable of doing something, rather than doing something for 2 weeks. All or nothing. All or nothing is, like, I think the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
It'll kill probably everyone's progress. Most people that will self-proclaim say that they're all or nothing are not really getting anywhere closer than the people that just do small steps at a time.
Consistently. So for you, it's about finding one thing that they can do consistently more than having 10 big things that they do occasionally.
I think that is like not my niche, but like I think that's something I really do understand with clients, that when I'm sitting saying, hit these calories, hit that protein, hit these steps, do this workout, put your phone down at 9:30, like
take these supplements,
take these supplements, do all that. It's too much. Like it really is, or at least it's not too much. Some people really can just go and do it. But I totally like. It's weird because I probably am the least empathetic coach, but I also understand and have a wee bit of patience with that kind of thing. Like as long as they're willing to put in a bit more of the time and understand that where they're at maybe isn't a 12-week transformation, maybe it is a
12
year,
years.
12 years.
Yeah.
Maybe it is it took me a year to even understand what proper nutrition was. Of course, I kind of found my way myself, but if I was to sign up with a coach and I was at the start, if I started with a coach at the beginning and someone told me about calories and protein and all this, I would have been completely out of my depth.
For me, this is why I like having so many coaches, but also different coaches. And like I said, like we were chatting today because you came from being overweight.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of joked when I go, I'm maybe one of the least empathetic. I don't think you are.
No.
I think there's like a different level of empathy. It's not
There's
that, you're okay. Like that's not you. You're a little bit more, I don't know if tough love's even the right thing, but you definitely do have empathy. But I think more than empathy, you've been through it. So it's like, I suppose empathy is understanding, but like you've literally been through it. You've done it the wrong way. Yeah. You know the right way. Yeah. So you can sort of bridge that gap for people as well.
I think as well, I have quite a good idea of when someone's being dishonest, or not even knowing that they're being dishonest. Like again, at the start, I would have had no idea that having a wee handful of cereal or picking up food off my boyfriend's plate would have equal to 1,000 calories by the end of the week. And it's when the math's not mathing, and when someone's saying that they're tracking this and they're potentially not. Like I've been that person.
You can think outside the box to think, okay, like you have tracked your food, but have you tracked the Saturday night Chinese? Yeah. No, I didn't track that. And did you have 2 drinks for that? No, I didn't track that either. Yeah. And do you grab a handful of cereal most days when you're in the cupboard? Yeah, I didn't track that either. And what about your 2 Starbucks that are 300 calories each? Oh, I don't track them. Yeah. So I suppose that's good because, again, I don't come from that background. And I think I'll be honest, like my most successful clients have came from people similar to me because I understand people that are like me and understand people that have came from a sport background. And I can say to them, imagine it in this situation like it was sport or like it was a competition, and then I can kind of get them bought in that way. And I've always said for coaches, if any of them are listening to this, like, your best clients are you 3 to 10 years ago. Like, they are always your best clients. Yeah. So the people that you can help the most because you've got the best area of understanding for that client. Mm-hmm. Like, I would love an army of just 40 me's 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I suppose actually from a business standpoint, like, I don't work with clients. I work, I suppose, more with you guys and coaches now. It's very much like, I just want to find what problems I had with business because I know how to solve them for me. So if I can solve them for me, I can solve them for you. Yeah. But yours is fat loss. Well, I had problems with fat loss or not losing fat. Yeah. I solved them for me. I can solve them for you because here's all the shit I used to do wrong.
100%. For me, it's like I've a big appetite, and I would say probably bigger than most people. Like I generally think I eat more than Jack. I was 5 plates deep in the Chinese buffet, whereas my friends were 1 plate deep. Like, I've always had a really big appetite. So now when it comes to dieting, I completely understand the struggles of hunger. But I think I've kind of nailed the ways to add a lot of volume to food for clients that are in a similar position, that feel hungry probably more than they maybe think they should. So
let's chat about that. What would be sort of protocols if somebody's like you? They're like female, so they're likely on somewhere between 1,500 and 2,500 calories. Yeah. Like, not an obscene amount of food, but how do they make their plates feel like more food?
For someone that doesn't like vegetable naturally, I had to hide my vegetables in my food like a child. And for me, it was like making big things that could last me the week. I've not come from a big family that cook a lot. So me making fancy recipes is not ever going to happen. I was making kind of big batches of chilies, curries, bologneses, and hiding a shit ton of vegetables in there. Like, if I make a chili now, I'm grating carrots into it, I'm grating courgettes into it, I'm putting so much mushrooms in it. All of the stuff I hate but you can't really taste in these big things. But it's also adding so much volume to them. And even things like if I want, I think when my clients say to me, oh, I've had really big cravings this week, I think I'm really good. I always ask, what are the cravings? Because I know I've got an alternative to get that craving in there without, and adding volume to it. So, for example, if they're saying they love a big bar of dairy milk chocolate at the end of the night, and I know for a fact that some people that might not understand that if I'm having 5 squares, I want 10 more. Whereas now, I would say have those 5 squares, but melt them over 200 grams of strawberries. So you're getting so much more volume. You're still getting that dairy milk in there, but and you're also hitting the cravings. Because again, for someone that has lived off junk food majority of my life, it's not something I'm going to unlearn in 12 weeks.
Love that. And I think like having these little protocols, again, I've got them just through learned experience. I've worked with lots of different clients just like you as well. So we have these, but I think with you actually living it, it's sometimes nicer for my client, because I know I've worked with really overweight people in the past, and I can guarantee the full time of me coaching them, they're sat going, he doesn't know what it's like.
Yeah.
And I think, and sometimes I'm sat there going, I don't know what it's like, because I used to have quite a negative mindset towards really overweight people. Even as a coach, I used to be very much like, why can't they stick to things? Don't understand. They don't want it bad enough. And again, it was a sort of like immature coach mindset. It's that, like, I've been doing this since I was 19. Like, I didn't have a fucking clue. But over the years and over like working with lots of women, and, or men and women, you sort of get to understand, oh, actually, there's more to it than not wanting it enough. Yeah. Actually, there is, things relating to upbringing. There's things relating to trauma, abuse, whatever else that's led to eating disorders or disordered eating. And I suppose, like, I've definitely learned approaches from how to increase your food volume, how to motivate people in different ways. Yeah. But I actually think it's better coming from somebody that's done it. And I'll always say that. I think coaches, as mentioned, that are looking for clients should try and find people that are most like them, because that's who they can help 100%. The most.
Yeah, if I'm looking to step on stage next year, I'm not going to go to a coach that is working potentially with beginners, or, like, again, I wouldn't go to me. Like, I wouldn't go to, like, where that's not my thing. I'd go to someone that has done that, knows how to do it, has lived that life. Whereas, same thing, like, if I'd literally just had a DM on my Instagram saying, a voice note, a girl left me saying, your before looks like me. I really want to work with you as a coach, like, because you've done that. Yeah. Like, you don't want to go, again, this is not to bash anyone that's been in shape their whole life, like, well done. But, like, they, again, like you said, like, they might not get it.
Totally. And it's funny that you say that, actually. I remember reading this post from a Scottish bodybuilder like 8-9 years ago, and I absolutely loved it, because it was a post saying everyone celebrates dramatic transformations. Like, yours has been celebrated loads. But people that have been in shape their entire life actually don't really get the credit. And I actually think, most of this has been chatting about people transforming their body. But there's an element of truth to that, because I always felt that. I always felt like, I was chasing a transformation. I was like, I've kind of always been in shape, but you actually don't get a pat in the back from that, and I wasn't looking for one. But it's very interesting. Like, you definitely get more from, and again, it's a story. Like, stories and films work because there's, a big negative start and there's a big happy ending. It's the same with somebody that's really overweight that gets in shape, big negative start, big happy ending.
You don't celebrate like a Nepo baby getting rich.
Yeah, exactly. It's true. It's always interesting to see both sides to that. So let's round things up. If someone is listening to this, watching this, that is in your situation, I don't want to say shitty upbringing, but from a health standpoint, 100%. Like, not the upbringing that I've certainly had, what's your advice to them?
I think for me, it is looking at your environment, looking at what is, and even in your opinion, whether it's true or not, holding you back, and making a change to that. And that is definitely easier said than done. But for me, it really was, like, I lost a lot of friends. I don't hang out with the kind of same friends that I hung out with before. Again, different relationship. So I definitely would start there. Like, you can't, I was going to say something really cheesy. Like, you can't grow a flower in a brick wall. Like, you really need to kind of find your environment to grow. And I would start there. That could be as simple as start going into, if you want to get into running but none of your friends run, join a run club. If you want to start looking at nutrition, find your people. And I always speak about this on Instagram as well. Like, I don't have a lot of friends. sure you are like that as well.
What do you mean you're sure I'm like that?
I'm pretty
That's
sure
why I started playing
pretty sure
paddle.
you don't have any friends. No, I don't have a lot of friends, and that's I definitely went through an even lonelier phase of leaving my old life and finding my new life. And I have all yous now, which is quite nice. And yous are the only people in my life that are into fitness. Like, again, not many of my family or friends are into it at all. And there's definitely a lonely area, and that will keep people back. But I'd say lean into the lonely. Like, don't be afraid to kind of leave people behind.
And you might find your tribe as well.
Yeah,
like
100%.
Again, you've got the MTN guys, but equally, like, there will be a point where you're like, actually, I've found my tribe of people as well. And I think that's the important thing. But absolutely love that. That's going to round up today's episode of Better Than Yesterday. If you've got any other ideas, topics, things that you'd like us to cover from the entire MTN coaching team, please drop a message, drop a like, comment below, let us know. And we'll make sure to cover that. We want to make these podcasts a mix of mindset, training, nutrition, but also just general self-improvement, chit-chat. One of our values is serious results, not so serious people. So there's going to be a bit of bullshit coming your way as well. Nicole's going to eat some sausages, and that'll round us up. So
10,000 sausage challenge.
That's a good one. The next episode is just going to be that. But thank you so much for tuning in. Like we said, like it, comment below, and we'll see you in the next one.
Follow.
And follow. Goodbye.